that shift. As soon as he got on the KTM.
I met a gypsy.
So Webb, if you go back and watch footage of Webb on a 250 and watch him in those first couple 450 years, all you have to do is look at his feet. That's it. Webb's footwork still isn't as good as some of the guys that really kill it with the footwork, but it's improved quite a bit. Webb used to ride very flat-footed and then with his toes pointed out. So flat-footed is an issue because you just don't have that, and especially Webb being a short guy, you lose that suspension travel in your ankle. That's a lot of travel. Like when you're riding on the balls of your feet and allowing your heels to drop, like when you watch somebody with really good footwork go through a set of whoops, it looks like they're almost breaking their ankle, right? Because there's so much flexion there. That's suspension travel. That's probably 2, 3, 4 inches of suspension travel.
Yeah.
So Webb was riding shifted forward a little bit. Like if you had seen the bottom of his boots in those years, they were probably worn right in his arches. So being on your arches, you eliminate all of that suspension travel. But then also riding with your foot forward like that, the only way to not have your foot hitting the brake in the shifter is to have your toes out. And that's bad for a couple of reasons, but one of the biggest ones is that it doesn't allow you to really work the bike with your lower body, because your knees, if your toes are pointed out, your kneecaps are pointed out, and you can't grip the bike with your lower body. So going from maybe a 250, Webb was dominant on a 250, you can manhandle that, right? But when you get to the 450, if you're Webb size and you're trying to muscle that thing around with your upper body, it's simply just not going to work. 90%, if not more, of that grip strength is coming from your lower body. And footwork is the number one most important thing. Like, watch Roxon. He is so intentional watch Sexton, watch Cianciarillo. These guys are super, super intentional with where their feet are on the pegs at all times. If you watch Roxon take a turn and dab his foot to the dirt, it will instantly reset and go right back to the foot peg. Where watching Webb in those years, the foot would catch, it would drag, he'd try to put it out again, it would drag the dirt again. So one mistake turns into 3, where now that's even taking it a step further. Now you're seeing guys like Roxon just deciding to leave their feet on altogether. And that's what I try to teach. And this is definitely will stir up some arguments, and people ask me this, they say, well, what situation should I leave my feet on? What situation should I take them off? I say, if I were to have a kid and they want to ride, I will teach them how to ride a dirt bike with both feet on at all times. And then naturally, like if they need to put their foot out to save themselves every once in a while, I get it. Like the only reason these guys are putting their foot out in Supercross in these corners is because they just put it down sometimes to save themselves from crashing. That's really all it is, if you think about it. That foot, there people say it like shifts weight here or there. Not really. I've experimented so much. I've hit all different types of corners, feet on, feet off, but in all different positions on the seat just to see what happens. All it is an extra movement. All it is having one less limb connected to the bike, so you have less of your legs holding on to the thing, and it's easier to make mistakes. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. And you saw Webb, that shift. As soon as he got on the KTM, I don't know who told him or who was working with him, but those feet started to come in.
Maybe he started
and
watching...
technique-wise, that makes all the difference.
Maybe he started watching YouTube.
Maybe. You're welcome, Coop.
I think you should just claim it. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.